Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. RGB is one of those things you either really love or you really hate. Some of us though, I feel like we're in the middle. Let's call it we're balanced in the force, and that's kind of where I stand with RGB. Sometimes though, going full RGB unicorn spew is the only way to really show off a build. You can see where this is going already. In this video, I'm building an affordable mid-range gaming PC in the Aerocool Playa case with plenty of RGB unicorn spew because that's what the people want apparently, so let's give it to them. Like usual, this isn't a permanent system. However, for the first time with one of these mid-range gaming PC builds, we actually benchmarked it with our usual suite of benchmarks. Yeah, I know, times are changing, but I'm not gonna make a habit of this either because there's only so many hours in a day. So stick around until a little bit later and you can see how it performed. But for now, let's build. parts because I know you guys want to know. The motherboard is the ASRock B450 Steel Legend. This board is the right balance of great VRM cooling and awesome aesthetics and obviously RGB. The CPU is the AMD Ryzen 5 2600. The 2600 is a 6-core 12-threaded bang for buck champion. This is easily my favorite Zen Plus chip. I think it's the perfect balance of price to performance. You can't beat it. It's a great CPU. Speaking of cooling, the 2600 is cooled by the Wraith Prism cooler that comes stock with the Ryzen 7 2700X. It's a great cooler and it performs really well with the 2600. It's kind of the perfect cooler for it, but although the price, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. The GPU we use is the Gigabyte 1660 Ti Gaming OC. The reason why we chose this card is because we have one on hand and it complements the other parts in the build a lot. It suits everything. It's not overkill and it's not too little. It's just about right. The RAM chosen was 16 gigs of Team Group Nighthawk RGB at 3000 megahertz. This is a great RGB RAM kit at a fantastic price point. I highly recommend this RAM if you're after some of that RGB bling, as Brian from Tech Yes City calls it. Lastly, the case. It's the Aerocool Playa. The case is okay as far as aesthetics are concerned. The more I look at it, the more it grows on me. It's actually not an ugly case. It's a pretty budget case. It's got tempered glass side panels and a tempered glass front and ARGB on the front panel that can only be controlled with the button on the front of the case. The airflow is, how can I say, well, the front panel is almost completely closed off, but the temperatures aren't as bad as you'd expect, but they're also not great either. That being said though, I did install 6 fans in this build, so maybe that helped a little bit, but that's not really the point of this case. It's not designed to be the king of airflow. It's not even designed to be for super mega high-end performance systems. It was designed to be cheap and to include tempered glass and RGB. So you might be thinking, okay, that's cool, but it sounds kind of rubbish. But consider this, right? The Aerocool Playa only costs $50 US. You heard right, $50 US. I don't think that's too much money to ask for. And if I'm being completely honest, if your case budget is only $50, what more can you really ask for? Okay, let's talk about fans and lighting and all of that stuff because you guys love that so much. All of the fans are Cooler Master MF120R ARGB fans. They're connected directly to the motherboard with the 3-pin addressable RGB splitter. There's no controllers at all. All the lighting on the CPU cooler is like standard AMD issue, so there's nothing particularly interesting going on here. Like I'd mentioned earlier, the front panel lighting is controlled with the button on the front of the case. It's a pretty simple lighting setup. In fact, the way that you're seeing the lighting now is how it came out of the box. I didn't configure anything. It just is how it is. Okay, party people and players, you guys want some performance numbers? Well, I'm gonna give them to you, but just be aware, I didn't test this system with every single game on Earth because, yeah, there's only so many hours in a day. I used our usual speed of benchmark, so you can go back to our other videos so you can compare them as well. And like I mentioned, only so many hours in a day, guys. Give me a break. Here we go. I'll see you on the other side. As you can see, the gaming performance is pretty much identical to our i7-8700K test bench with 1 to 5 frames and even as much as like 10 frames, but They're pretty great results if I'm honest, and it surprised me quite a bit. Overall, I'm happy with how this build turned out. The gaming performance isn't too bad either, and there'll also be a teardown video of this system on the channel really soon as well. I'm not sure when, but yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles. If you're interested in any of the parts in this build, including all the fans, the lighting, even though we didn't add any lighting, and just everything in the build, there are links down in the description if you're interested in all that jazz. Also, if you guys want any of the music, I make all the music here. You can check it out on our Patreon. It's at our $5 pledge limit now because people were hitting and running and just taking the music and stealing it, and yeah, hurt my feelings. Anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, you know what to do, and tell us what you hated about it. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek. And if you guys can hear that, the wind is howling outside. It's really loud and there's nothing I can do about it. But I hope you enjoyed this mid-tier gaming PC build video with some benchmarks for once. Yes guys, I do listen, but there's only so many hours in a day. Give me a break. Thanks for watching.